There you go.
Is it going?
I
Yeah.
see it's saying live.
Great. I just don't it's not connecting on Instagram.
Yet.
Oh, let's see. Oh, good. Yeah, I think we're live on Instagram. There might be a little bit of a delay. That's really funny. It's like, oh, wow. Okay, great. Um, it's so nice to have you, Phoebe.
Thank you, Allison. Same here.
Yay.
Yay.
Ah,
26th
so
of December.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
3 months into, our body talk training. Yeah. And you've gotten some great partner sessions?
Powerful ones.
Mm. Do you wanna speak to, what you've noticed with the work for you personally?
Yeah. So I think it's such a beautiful to learn more in depth about our body, how our body really talks, our body such carries so much of wisdom that we don't listen to. And also being, certified in somatic breath work, that's where I started learning about emotional release, that there's so much things that we suppress and
Mhm.
we think our way out of healing,
Mhm.
on our journey. And I think now we're realizing, and we've gathered some evidence and research all about the key importance of the body, since we are body based first, then mental. We are emotional being first. So the work that really profound helped me is to uncover more deeper about the body, the subconscious mind. I thought it was like, separate, but realizing that the subconscious is our body, and it's where it hides all the
Mhm.
things. So yeah, and so much profound also of like in instant we learn, we understand about where we're holding back ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, likewise. I, was working with a client this morning, and it's like, where's that edge?
Mm.
You know, that growth edge? Where's that edge of that we're holding, that we're gripping, that we're stuck in old patterns? And, tuning into the body to feel what the edge feels like, right? How does
Mm-hmm.
it feel to just be where you are right now and leaning into that edge? So often the edge is scary and we wanna, like, push it away, right? And, like, stay in our comfort zones. Um, and sometimes it's hard for people to even understand what the edge is or find words to describe it, which I love about that the work is that you don't have to intellectualize it. You don't have to find a way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
If we give the body, take the lead and the lessons from the body and allow the body to express in posture, in gestures, what that edge is, and it's different for everybody, then we're like following this trail of crumbs to getting to those deeper holding patterns and finding that energetic release of movement and like how the energy can move through our body, um, giving ourselves the time and space to really express and embody what that looks
Mm-hmm.
like in the moment. um, then we see these shifts, like things change. Like I haven't seen anybody just stay stuck in at the edge. Once
Mm-hmm.
we allow the edge to come in, once we allow ourselves to feel what the edge is, then there's expansion, then there's openness on the other side of it, and that's
Totally.
cool to see.
Right. It's like a portal, right? Like we've been so conditioned to run away, or we've never been told. We don't learn all these things. So it's kind of like it's scary,
Mhm,
but it's like where we can find our freedom, our liberation on the things that we're running away. And is it so wild?
mhm. Yeah, I loved, one of our like, I often how I'll start a session is identifying the desire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it that where do you want to be in your life? Where do you see yourself
Mm-hmm.
going? And then, taking a step back to feel where that edge is, where the stuck
Mm-hmm.
feeling is. Um, how have you found, like, the most effective way to start a session?
Opening, like just seeing, really deeply connecting what's present instead of we want to jump into them, kind of like what do they want to achieve, right? All that kind. It's amazing, it's great, but I feel like, okay, can we welcome what's here, what's present? And I think even for myself, I've been really learning of truly in the present moment of the discomfort or connotation of the not so good feeling, and can we meet that and even celebrate that, because we only celebrate, like, the good things, like what's happening, all that, but also that's why I love saying this is soulful space. I create soulful space of allowing to be humanness and meeting wherever we are, and especially our shadows too, the
Mhm.
triggers or whatever it is. So I open that space of kind of just seeing where they are at, and then acknowledging where they want to go, and then what's in the between. And then, as what you say, like we are energetic being, and the stuckness and the edge is where we get to move through, because it's not meant to stay suppressed in our body, but we just don't have the tool, the capacity. And I love to say that we get to process that with people as practitioner, right? And this is why we're so passionate, because we can't do it on our own. We need someone, right, to be held. And that's the only job. That's why they say, like, what do you do, Phoebe? Like, I don't really know. I don't want to like label practitioner or a coach, or kind of like, I'm a space holder. Like,
Mhm.
I am just your mirror, holding you for your humanness, for your greatness that's there, that has been stuck, and just letting whatever energy that has been stuck there to evolve, to process. And maybe that's one session, or maybe it takes time. And even for me, like right now, I'm still going through things, shift and integrating. And but the key is we understand, we allow that time to move and process through whatever we're going on. And we did a session, right, like the last time in the group call, I was like just in the process of allowing to move. But the tendency, we human, is we want everything in just one session or in one go, right? This instant
Right.
gratification of I want to heal now, but it's like it's freaking lifetime, decades, years of suppress, and we're just
Mhm.
slowly allowing. So yeah, that's how about you?
Well, I like what you were saying. I just wanted to, put a pin in that, like the, value of having a witness.
Mm,
We're social beings, we're wired for connection,
mhm,
and all the work that, I might do on my own, when somebody else is in the room with me, the work is landing in a way that is much more profound and significant.
mhm,
That I have opened enough to allow somebody to see my underbelly, my vulnerable side,
mhm,
and that I have a witness. It's challenging and comforting at both the same time.
mhm. Totally.
Yeah, and I think, we that's like, we learn how to show up differently when someone else is in the room with us. When our takeaway is, how are we gonna interrupt the old pattern? How are we going to move forward with a new way of being? Once we've shared that with somebody else, we have so much more accountability. It holds so much more weight. It's so much more real. And it's concrete, right? It's in the 3D, it's in the physical world. We've given words to it. We've had somebody else hear it and receive our message. So that in and of itself creates so much more physical manifestation than just doing the work by yourself. I mean, for that matter, journaling, I think, helps a lot of getting stuff into the 3D also when you're in the written word, and vocalization for that matter too. But there's something that affords that quantum leap when someone else
Mhm.
is with you. Um,
Totally.
being trained to facilitate, to hold space, the biggest takeaway for me was how to let the client lead. And so much of my work before, I felt like I was, like, teaching in this teaching
Mhm.
role. I was, delivering healing. I was acting upon the client, creating flow and balance in the chakras, moving through the energy field. And
Mhm.
with this work, I feel like it's so much more about letting the client be in the lead and
Mhm.
then following them to facilitate asking a question here and there, reflecting what you're noticing in their body language and their facial expression, their breathing patterns,
Mhm.
reflecting back to them and asking them to interpret what's going on
Mhm.
instead of ever assigning meaning for what I think is happening.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful when we use the body talk in clearing energetic or clearing any emotion limiting patterns, as well as creating, right, the desired outcome that we want, because it's like you're letting the body process through and remember, because it's always there within us. It's just like kind of like buried. So it's, yeah, it's so powerful. Like, I have even, I don't know why I'm like, I have one client, like, she just broke up, and we go through her body and how does that really, what's happening in her system, that where is it coming from, this remembering of heartbreak. And it went straight to the father wound,
Mhm,
that on her birthday she wanted to spend time with the parents and the dad wasn't there. So that created a heartbreak of, instead me being, celebrating as a child and I don't have a father, kind of that heartbreak. And it's
mhm,
just remembering now that the absence of relationships is the absence of the father, that longing, that need.
mhm,
So I think like when we remember the really the core and the root cause, this is where we are able to really move through.
mhm. Yeah, I love the, that, like, taking action, like, assigning an action, even if it's just a change in posture
Mhm.
or an affirmation or something physical that you want to carry with you that helps you interrupt the old patterns of
Yes,
being and
yes.
relating, right? So when we
Yeah.
find ourselves reacting to somebody or a circumstance, and we've done this work and we understand, oh, that's that old pattern of perhaps
Mhm.
that unresolved father wound,
Mhm.
um, and we have something to tie it to the work that we've done around it, and that I can choose to show up differently now,
Mhm.
right? In
Mhm.
this moment, taking this posture reminds me that I've come so far, that
Mhm.
I've made a commitment to myself to try to do it different, and how can I do it different? That's really when we have sovereignty and agency, when we can break those old patterns and we're not just having knee-jerk responses to everything around us and going on autopilot all the time and suffering
Oh,
endlessly
yeah.
for the same reason over and over and over again. It's like when we finally take that accountability, that ownership, that responsibility to do things differently, um, it's really life opens up with so much more possibilities for our future.
Yeah, because we've lived our whole life mental. This is the
Mhm,
mechanical mind of
mhm,
reacting instead of responding.
mhm,
Autopilot, always looking for some stuff,
mhm,
it's for survival. So that's why like the body talk is like kind of like body-based healing, any somatic, it's like we're dropping into the body, into
mhm,
our heart.
mhm,
And that's why it's really chaotic, because we've been living so here in our head. And
mhm,
that's why like feeling our feelings, feeling how to be human, how to be feeling the gratitude, that's what's here. But the mind always like either in the past or in the future, but the body
mhm,
is present, it's here, the
mhm,
sensations. And this is where we're connecting back to like, what does it feel right now? Like we
mhm,
don't even question that, we don't even have space, we don't even have space to breathe, right?
mhm.
Because we're always go go go, or do.
Right.
And even now, like even me, like realizing like this holidays, like kind of like it's okay not to do anything because it's holiday, there's that part of our humanness to like incline of doing something, or
Mhm,
or equals you're not productive or you're being lazy. So we have all this kind of connotation. So as what you said, like we interrupt or we change our body of like, yeah, I'm allowed to be here, like I'm worthy to just chill and not do
mhm,
anything and
mhm,
just be present.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you, brought that up, the body's in the present and the mind is in the future, the past.
Mhm.
share that a lot with my clients because when we're in the space of processing a story, right, we could be telling a story about something that was scary that happened, and we're getting adrenaline in the body, we're having an increased heart rate, we're having shallow breathing, like, the body is reacting in the present moment to a memory of something. But when
Mm-hmm.
we really turn our focus onto the body and how can we reprocess those memories
Mm-hmm.
and find a way for a new expression of that energy or find a way to discharge that
Mm-hmm.
old habit, then we get to rewrite our narrative,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
that's
love that. Yeah,
mhm,
because we don't know, right? So we've been told or programmed to suppress, but actually, in through that movement, it needs to process so that we can put a period on it. But
mhm,
that's why, like, we try to run away, we try to put on the shrug, and it comes
mhm,
back, and it becomes louder, and then it manifests through our body, meaning it becomes a disease because it's just so suppressed
mhm,
instead of letting it express whatever it wants to express, but we don't have that space, we don't have the tools. So that's why,
mhm,
like, kind of like, and that's why there's so much of diseases that not doctors know. And I love that what you are, like, as a nurse. So coming from very scientific to into this modality, I just love that, Allison, because I think,
mhm,
yeah, like, I think I'm very curious and passionate about how did you shift that from being in this field of, because I myself is a nursing graduate, but never really worked in the hospital. But I
oh,
finished my degree in 2007. So
mm,
did all the 4 years and 2 years in the hospital, because in Philippines, you can't graduate without in depth in the hospital training. So yeah. And now I realize, like, oh my God, I've never really practiced, but I'm realizing, oh, all those things lead me into this holistic new way of healing. Because you
mhm,
know that in our training, like, we're tiptoeing like only certain bits about really the root cause. We're only doing the symptoms or treating the symptoms,
mhm,
managing.
mhm.
So I love that. I would love to hear, I'm curious about your background. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I graduated nursing school in 2000, and then I went into midwifery school. So I got my
Mhm.
master's in midwifery. I graduated in '04. And then, yeah, I worked delivering babies for 20 years. Loved that work. And it was bittersweet, to leave it,
Mhm.
but it's like a hard
Mhm.
lifestyle. And our modern medical system doesn't
Mhm.
do justice to patients or providers. Both sides of that system are dissatisfied for the most
Mhm.
part.
Mhm.
So, myself doing 25 patients a day and doing 15-minute appointments and pap smears, just rotating door of faces, and
Mhm.
it just never allowed us enough time to sink into these deeper conversations about um, that emotional, spiritual, mental healing that contributes to states of disease.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I feel like once people are in the hospital, it's often very acute focused symptom management or late stage disease, but so much of that could be walked back and intervened upon earlier if we understand
Mhm.
that we really are these like divine, magical, precious vehicles, and caring for our health means caring for our emotional, spiritual well-being as well as the physical. It's rare that physical health is in and of itself um, problematic without there being emotional and spiritual stress as well. And even when it seems like we have real physical disease, our system does a terrible job of tending to the spiritual and emotional components of processing the stress of that disease. So, I it's just, something I never saw coming. I never knew
Mhm.
I would be here. It was like a series of events that led me here. I started my private practice a couple years ago. I'm in my treatment room. I do sound healing and energy work and holistic women's health. And I got into body talk for my own
Mhm.
healing. I was
Mhm.
blown away at how I was in talk therapy for years, and my therapist was like, Have you tried somatics?"
Mm.
I could, like, talk my way out of a tight situation and get, out of, like, all kinds of conventions to avoid getting
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
And she was like, "You need to look into somatics." So I started doing Rosen body work,
Mm.
and, one thing led to another, and I found Body Talk, and every time I got in the room on a recording even, I would be, like, in full-on
Mhm.
emotional processing,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This work is incredible." And then it was just really divine timing that it was like a facilitation training and that this was a
Mhm.
program to learn a modality that then I could
Mhm.
incorporate into my private practice.
Mhm. I love that. I think that's so beautiful, like, merging the science and this
Mhm,
Western. And I think, yeah, I think the world is so much evolving and realizing now of like, yeah, it's harmonizing for this really body, mind, and soul healing because we can't just heal the physical. And I think we've been really programmed of like when we say health, it's only physical.
mhm,
We disregard the emotional, and which is the biggest key. So
mhm,
that's why we're relearning and reteaching and sharing our story and sharing what we do, so people would be so aware. We would be aware, and that there is a different way, kind of like faster than thinking our way. It's kind of feeling our way, and yeah, just having that, as what you said, spaces to process through. I think there's so much of generations, and this is what one of the passionate about is that we've suppressed it still in our DNA,
mhm.
and we carry that until one process, until one sees, until one phase. And
Until
this
one
is
is
where I love to talk more about the womb, because we women carry all that emotions in our womb. We
mhm,
create the next generations. And when you say like, oh, let's do live, I'm like, you're into womb healing, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yes, we're birthing a new wave of
yeah,
life, a new generation that's more aware of body, connecting our minds and connecting to our emotions.
mhm, mhm,
And this is where I'm so passionate, and I'd love for you to talk about, yeah, like
mhm,
your how do you think we as women can carry that, or
mhm,
everyone, not just women, like take place into our healing.
mhm. Yeah, I think it's so interesting the way society has evolved and how much women have suffered in the last
Mhm.
thousands of years. Um, it's it's not only insults in this lifetime to the divine feminine, but it's, generations of insults, and that is carried in our DNA, it's carried in our cellular
Mhm.
memory. I'm sure you're aware that you're in your grandmother's body, right? When she was pregnant
Mhm.
with your grandmother was carrying you as an egg
Mhm.
in your mother's body. So, we are connected. There's a physical line of connection there. There's a lineage
Mhm.
that, is asking to be healed until that one
Mhm.
person is willing to feel the pain and go through the gates and claim a new future. It's so important to do this work as women, as those of us that are opening ourselves to be portals for new life, not just
Mhm.
for ourselves, but to create generations that have less pain and suffering than those generations before us.
Mhm.
So there's a real sense of stewardship, not just of the body, but of the spirit.
Mhm.
And even for those of us that don't birth and don't have children, to do that healing work, we're creating these ripples, right? That are reaching out and touching the lives of others. We're able to communicate what freedom and liberation from this inherited wounding can look like.
Mhm.
And I think that that is a really important role for those women that don't have children, is to do the healing work themselves and hold space for everyone on this planet, that needs to do the healing, that doesn't know how to do the
Mhm.
healing, that hasn't been exposed to the healing, that doesn't see the healing, doesn't know what the healing looks like, to say, this this is what healing looks like. Standing in my power, standing in my sovereignty, loving my body.
Mhm.
You know, we get so many messages from the media, to hate our bodies,
Mhm.
and the only one that wins in that is corporate capitalism. It's not in our best interest at all to hate our bodies. We need to love we need to dote on our bodies, we need to be precious with our bodies, and treat them lovingly and show others what loving ourselves can look like.
I love that, Allison. Totally. I think we're learning that to really go deeper and to love ourselves deeper. But again, we no one teaches us all this, like we have to learn and all that. I'm curious about your story,
Mm,
like what calls you in with this healing work? How do you start? Because I know, like, us practitioner coaches or anybody that's leading the way about healing and all that, because they've been through their own shit,
mhm,
so we know how it feels to be in that pain, and now we're sharing this liberation, we're sharing this things that help us.
mhm.
So I'm curious, like, what's your story? What was your why?
Mm. Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it sometimes. I do feel like I was called to this work. Like, I know
Mhm.
I've been a midwife before in other
Mhm.
lives. I've been a witch in other lives.
Mhm.
There's a legacy and a destiny there that's undeniable that I
Mhm.
couldn't ever not follow. I knew I was gonna be a healer when I was young. I wanted to be a
Mhm.
doctor. Um,
Mhm.
and then I had an abortion when I was 17, and that really rocked my world. It really turned everything upside down, and the healing that I had to pursue and seek out on my own. As you say, we're not
Mhm.
taught this, how to heal, right? We have to learn how to heal.
Mhm.
Um, I was in so much pain and suffering at that time in my life, and such darkness, that, the call to heal, this drumbeat to heal, was the only thing that pulled me forward, that kept me going. Um, and I think that's how I've become an adept healer. It's because I've had to seek out my own healing from such depths of darkness at different times in my life. Um,
Mhm.
a childhood that was rough for so many reasons, a family that felt like, um, I was too sensitive, that I was too much, um,
Mhm.
just getting that message so many times when I was young, and really turning off my own psychic gifts because of that.
Mhm.
Um, Thankfully, I was raised in Catholicism and learned at a young age how beautiful ritual and ceremony can be. So that's become, a North Star for me my whole life, is the power of prayer and the power of intentionality. Um, I started studying Wicca when I was 17, and I left the Catholic Church, and my own spirituality has been, a constant. It's been my best friend my whole life.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, bringing that into my work, bringing the power of prayer into my work, now more than ever, my work is spiritually informed, and there was times that I was shy about that, and
Mhm.
this has been most recently, like in Costa Rica, healing the witch wound, being able to show up and say, "This is my heritage, this is my history, this
Mhm.
is my lineage, this is my power, this is my voice, this is my beauty, these are my gifts." Um,
Mhm.
that has been really liberating and really exciting to weave into my healing practice. I love the community that I've created in our local area, around ceremony, around celebrating the cycles of nature, and I'm just, like, more turned on and jazzed than to get that
Mhm.
out, to get that magic out into the world.
Yeah, I love that. I can see even your face just light up, and yeah, that magic.
Mhm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanna share about your story or the work or
Mhm.
your magic?
Hmm. I think. what wanted to be shared, because since we're talking about a woman or womb, like how every woman plays such a role of us in moving forward, and like just sharing, like thank you for sharing and being so honest about your abortion and all that. And I think there's a lot of women out there, and
Mhm.
this is my first time publicly
Mm,
speaking to that I did it. I
mm,
had abortion too, and even now talking about it, there's emotions coming up. But yeah, and this is why I'm passionate about healing, because when we suppress those painful memories and things that we wish we didn't do, or the things we did and the mistakes and all of the our past, right? We all go through all that.
mhm,
But the thing is, we get into the cycle and the loop of shaming ourselves, of blaming ourselves,
mhm,
and just this energy of like, there's something wrong with me. I'm a bad person, or whatever story that maybe is. That in our greatest pain or any greatest difficulty or struggles that we all go through as human lies our power, our magic out actually.
yeah.
And as what you said, we've been talking about the edge. When we can sit down on the edge, like, oh, can you just pass through and be with it? And that's where love, growth, whatever bliss that we've been so desperately wanting. And it's out there. But what I think want to share is that, just normalizing being human, embracing our humanness,
Mhm,
and doing the best that we can.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it for the joy. I'm in it for the expansion. I'm in it for the bliss. That's why I'm
Yeah.
in it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We're
Not
going
only
through it.
does it just suck to feel stuck in the
Mhm.
suffering that we have
Mhm.
to go through, in order to seek healing. It's
Mhm.
usually a painful point that makes us look and seek for alternatives. But once you start to understand that the healing work is where the joy is, it's where the expansion is, where the
Mm.
bliss is, and that's
Yes.
those are our superpowers. Now I'm like hungry for it. I'm like, where's the edge? Like, nom nom nom. I want,
Yes.
yeah,
The deeper we feel our stuckness or edge or like the pain, it's like the deeper we can freaking feel love
yeah,
and joy and alive. And this is
yeah,
our birthright.
yeah.
And we've been shamed, we've been conditioned. But again, this is where we can just remind each other and walk ourselves back home.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's always within us. It's always us that we are the medicine. So,
Yes, yes, yes,
mhm.
yes, yes, yes. Oh, Phoebe, I'm so glad we did this. Thank you so
I
much for
know. Thank you
coming
so
on.
much. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
really nice to connect with you.
Yeah.
Will you be coming to Cozumel?
No,
Oh,
unfortunately, I would love to be there, but with just my
yeah.
situation, I couldn't
Mhm,
travel for now. So
mhm.
yeah, but
Well,
nevertheless, my heart will be there.
yeah.
Just seeing pictures and all that, that would be amazing. Like I know I feel the energy, like oh, I wish I'm there. But
Mhm,
sometimes it's just like that's life, you
mhm,
know. It is
mhm,
what it is, and we're just moving forward, whatever is in our way.
mhm.
And one day,
Well, I will carry you with me at our graduation,
yes.
and you and I can walk together. Yeah, you'll be right there.
Thank you so much, Allison, just for having the space and to get to connect you deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's stay, in touch. I love following you and seeing the work
Mm,
that you're doing.
same here.
Awesome.
You have a wonderful year ahead, and
Right? Happy
yeah,
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Love and blessings.
So
Thanks,
much
Phoebe.
love.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right.